been a kind of a slow weekend at the theater. I did watch They Will Kill You last week at the Scream Unseen, so I already did that review, and then have a review up for the AI doc. There wasn't like a lot of stuff that my wife was interested in seeing, but she wanted to see the Forbidden Fruits mainly because she watched Riverdale and saw that Lily Reinhart was in this film. So I did watch Forbidden Fruits. At a Texas mall, Apple leads a secret witch cult with the co-workers who all happen to be named after fruits. Although one of the coworkers is named Pickle, who's no longer with them. But they have a new enlistee to their coven named Pumpkin, who is there for maybe not the reasons they think. This is directed by Meredith Allaway, who also helped write this. She's done some previous work in short films and music videos, and then also written with Lily Houghton, who is the one who created the original stage play that the movie is based on. The movie stars Lily Reinhart as Apple. She's been in Riverdale. Victoria Pedretti, I don't know how to say that name, as Cherry. She played in You, and she's in the recent Something Really Bad Is Gonna Happen. At least in one episode, she was in that. Also have Alexandra Shipp as Fig, who was in the Barbie movie, and she's been in some short films, TVs, and podcasts. And then you have Lola Tung as Pumpkin, who played in The Summer I Turned Purdy. The biggest issue with this movie, and this is one thing you'll see across any of the small snippets you see, whether on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes, is that the movie is kind of a mess. It doesn't know what it wants to be. The trailers don't really explain it any better in regards to what you expect in this movie. It kind of comes off as maybe it's a horror movie, maybe it's a comedy. I know Shudder was one of the production companies on this, and there is some horror aspects in the movie, but not as much as to call it a horror movie. It kind of feels like a movie from the 90s in regards to how it was shot, how it was lit, even how the mic sound kind of gave me a throwback to 90s films like Mallrat and some of those independent movies that were coming out at the time. It also kind of has a feeling of these after school specials that used to show in the late 80s and 90s, and maybe that's what it was going for. Doesn't really know if it wants to be a satire or a commentary on females in society. Story wise, you don't really know what the hell the story is for, I say, a good portion of the movie. There's a few kind of scenes with Pumpkin talking to her mom in regards to what the plot would be, and I was able to figure out exactly what the actual plot was just from that little discussion she had with her mom over the phone, and that turned out to be what the movie was about. So the movie does take place primarily just following these four main characters. There's other people in the movie, but they're very, very small characters. It primarily focuses on these four characters and how Pumpkin engages with Cherry, Fig, and Apple, and how she's there for different reasons that they think. They spend all the time in the mall. There are some scenes that could be outside the mall. There's some scenes in a restaurant that indicate it could be someplace else, but it could also be in the mall. So for the most part, the place that it's located in is the entire movie. It's inside the storefront, in the back rooms, in the dressing room where they have their ritual, or they call paradise, and they basically just party and do seances. I guess they call them seances. And then you also have some scenes that take place in the garage where there's this kind of sinister undertone of what's going on with Apple, and when they all get off work, her car never moves. You learn to find out why, you learn to find out what her history is. And then there's also the store manager and they never show her face until the post-credit scene. So there is a post-credit scene that you want to stick around for if you're really into this movie. For the most part, the acting was fine in this movie. The script isn't super great because it's super unclear of how everything's supposed to be put together. I don't know what they were trying to do, and I think that's like there's some cases that, you know, maybe it's meant for a younger audience, an audience of this generation, as opposed to somebody from my generation. Maybe there was something I missed, but I doubt that. I just don't think it was a great movie. Was I bored in it? I wasn't super bored in the movie. It was more of a interesting movie to watch to see, okay, what the hell are we doing here? When it does to get to some of the scenes that would be, I guess, horror related, I thought was pretty funny. So there's this horror comedy aspect to it, and it's some bad CGI and special effects, but I think it all works with the tone of the film and how the film was shot. And there's the scenes in it are pretty entertaining for the most part. Well, one of them you can definitely see coming. The other one is you can kind of see coming, but how they do it is like, oh, that's a little bit over the top. I think a younger audience of teenage girls would probably like it. Maybe. I could be wrong on that. If you're looking for something weird that doesn't really make any coherent sense for the most part, and you want to see some interesting death scenes. Actually, Now that I think about it, there's like a really big callback to Mallrats with one of the death scenes, which is now makes sense. So yeah, there's definitely like a Mallrats influence that's in the movie, but definitely recommend waiting for this to go on streaming services that you already pay for or find it for free. It's not the best movie, so I'd give Forbidden Fruits 1 star.